Okay, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Under the Skin session. And this is going to be for a very, very awesome EP that came out recently from the likes of Slaughter the False Prophet, consisting of currently Alex Sevigny and Maleficus. And this is a 6-piece EP or seven-piece EP. Let's see. Let's go ahead.
7 if you, well, 6 if you discontinue the intro, but yeah.
There you go. So we got a pretty good EP to start off the band, and to say the least, it definitely is a band that needs a full lineup of varying musicians. So for the near future, when they have more musicians to unleash the slaughter upon the earth. Currently, want to check out the stats before we get started, but essentially, for those of you who are subscribed to my channel, you have every idea of what we're doing here. We're going to be doing track by track lyrical analysis with the lyricist himself, but currently we have Rituals of Sin, which is at 9,700 streams. We have Forsaken, which is 6,886 streams. Rise of Thy King, which is 4,856. And then Depths of Deceit and Desecration, they don't have stream counts on them for some reason. So maybe it's like, oh, it's not.
That actually it's because recently the Desecration album, it's been completely new and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You said it's been completely nuked? Like taken off there?
No. Like it's it's new. It's like a brand new thing.
Right, that's fair. So it's like it's still released. Yeah, it's still like waiting for that week marker and all that. But something like that. It's
below 1K currently for streams. I see like a couple hundred streams on them. So I'm like, man, I made a lot of advertising mistakes during this EP.
I mean, mainly I think we just need to promote Desecration and all that it contains in Malbolga, which we've been talking about that here and there. We talked about that with the Anatomy podcast session that we did.
Yes.
And that is a community that we plan to start for all of you people, all the Malbolgans per se, here pretty soon.
For all the people who listen to Slaughter, go to Malbolga.
Exactly. So we start off the EP of Desecration with the intro. And this is for the most part an instrumental. I know that for sure. I remember that for sure because I've listened to this EP now 3 times because I feel a duty and obligation to, and it's a really good EP. And with the intro,
awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's really nice. It's actually one of my favorite EPs of the year so far. I'm not even kidding. But let's see. Yeah, with intro, we don't really. I'm trying to remember if there are any lyrics in the intro, because after all, you think intro, it's like, oh, it's just an instrumental.
There's not.
Okay.
It's pretty much just an instrumental with some ambience and stuff. Basically, just kicking into gear what everybody's gonna expect from this album.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. So I mean, if y'all like the intro, let us know down below, because I think Maleficus and Alex would be really, really happy to hear what you guys have to say about that intro. I really liked it. It's a nice little warm-up session. Now, then immediately we move on to Forsaken. which with Forsaken, that had to be if it wasn't Rituals of Sin, it was definitely Forsaken. That was like my introduction to this band. And I'm like, oh, holy shit.
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah. And that's crazy to me.
It was
that
like
we're
the
coming full circle.
very first release we've done. The very first release we've ever done. And with all the other releases that we've done alongside, Forsaken, believe it or not, it's mostly about suicidal thoughts and stuff. However, personally, and just take this with a grain of salt, it's my least favorite because it was improperly recorded and stuff. And Forsaken also, I feel like, to me at least, it kind of pushes that suicide narrative in there instead of subtly giving it, like with Rituals of Sin and like other songs and stuff like that.
Right, ideally.
But that's just me.
Yeah. And so you said you weren't really a fan of the recording process with this. Like, what were you working with?
Oh, no. Like I said, this whole EP was a learning process for me. Like, this is me getting completely into the music genre.
Right.
As I was doing this and learning along the way, just how improperly recorded it was, like, believe it or not, vocals were sent first. That's how improperly it was.
And we definitely
it was great. Alexander,
on the podcast session.
I mean, no, not Alexander. Alex Sevigny, he completely nailed the instrumentals and everything. But just, I don't know what it was. Just, I think it was the vocals or something, because like my vocals don't sound as deep as they do with others. I just like in the EP, I didn't get into it that much.
Right.
Personally, that's just me.
Well, I mean, after all, it's kind of like it's the beginning. It's your debut, so naturally you're like, our first song, like, cool, we finally got a song out.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
thrown out into the ether.
Like, man, I could record that and do like a lot better, especially with more of a Rituals of Sin type scream at the end, because like that other that I believe it or not, it didn't have that fry vocal that I usually do with Rituals of Sin and other songs, especially on the EP, and more of like a witchy goblin type vibe.
Right. And I mean, that is kind of how I think of you. Like, when I'm thinking of your vocal spectrum and stuff, is just the more witchy goblin fries and stuff, that and all that fun stuff. Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly. And obviously, I think, something that a lot of vocalists are trying to do now, because it's so easy to do, and it's like, it's easy on the voice, is just kind of the soft Tom Barber vibe with the vocals.
I mean, I get a lot of compliments on my highs if my lows don't hit, because most people say my Worm Shepherd themselves even told me that my highs were unique and shit like that, which made me feel accomplished and honored. But believe it or not, Rituals of Sin is when I started mastering my highs fully.
Oh, naturally. I can hear it in that song. And we will definitely...
Rituals of Sin is when I started my highs and my goblin kind of vibe. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean,
took that in with like the rest of the album.
Right, naturally. So, like, kind of looking into some of the lyrics here, because I haven't really done this before, but I think it would be good for the sake of context and stuff.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Let's see. So in the second stanza we have here, it says, "I inject distortion, spreading disdain, submit to me, worship me." What is being worshipped? What is demanding worship? Is it just the idea of death and suicide, or what?
Yes, the idea of death and suicide, as well as okay, this EP is all under the guise of the entity known as Maleficus, and suicide and stuff is what is tempted here. That the voices in your head are technically what tempt you into suicide, or at least that's how I experienced suicide whenever I was younger and tried killing myself.
Right.
But worship me and stuff like that, basically it's worshiping the thought of your own death.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And so kind of putting a back of the book summary on even just a track, that being Forsaken, this whole entire EP really, you've said, is like just tempting yourself, your thoughts tempting you, your intrusive thoughts, because everybody has these intrusive thoughts. Those just kind of clawing at your brain.
Exactly. It's about like intrusive thoughts and awakening to the reality that there is no God.
Right. And I mean, that's pretty realistic, because I mean, you can say that the science is there because of everything that is beyond our comprehension, but in reality, like it's more or less just a fun little story to entertain at the end of the day. And even I realize that with my religious beliefs, and that's why I treat religion like sports teams, is like I have absolutely no confirmation that there was actually a freaking Gandalf looking dude who breathed on a log and that gave the log life. That was a dude. And then then Loki gave it thought and prayer. Like, all these various creation myths. It's like it's more or less fun to entertain, but none of us have any idea if any of it is real, nor will we ever. And that's kind of what faith is. It's not the truth. It's just what you wish to believe.
Like I said, when the whole women's abortion thing happened, it's obviously clear just because of the Bible. Like I said, truly, we don't know what happens after death. We truly don't. I'm not really much of a Shrine of Malice demonologist. Because like, what happened?
I just can't see you right now, but I can hear you. I think you just disconnected for a second.
Yeah, what the hell about that?
You're good.
But anyway, continue going on. I was a demonologist at the start of this EP because, like, I wanted to originally do Believe Malice did and like, do basic demons and shit like that, and how it ties to the world as we see it.
Right.
But with Shrine of Malice and stuff and tying into the world, I personally just, as I go on into this world, I see this religion being nothing but a fucking comic and stuff. And honestly, now that I go forward, I'm more of an existentialist myself. Like, I really just, I don't care. Like, if I die, really all I think is just it's blackness and silence and peace overall.
Yeah, which I mean, some people find more peaceful than just carrying on and performing some other duty for how many years to come, in which the years to come kind of they dwarf the time that we spent here on Earth. And I mean, I remember being a kid and diving that deep into it, just like, how long would I be up in heaven? Would I actually be up in heaven forever? Like, how long would it take before I started losing my mind because I'm seeing all my loved ones join me? And some people are like, but that's the best thing ever. I'm like, no, because some of them are not great people. Like, you got your family members and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, but before, what's up?
Oh, sorry about that. What I was saying was, besides like existentialism, if we die, I personally believe our dreams have something to do when we die. Like, when you ever get those dreams that are like so real that you feel like you're in them, and then when you wake up, you question everything about the world and everything around you?
Absolutely, every night.
Lots of those dreams. Believe it or not, I've had lots of those dreams when I was a kid. I don't know if they're lucid or not, but I've had those types of dreams, and sometimes a blue moon still get them. And from there, I think that's the new take I would put on Slaughter the False Prophet. Is it's more of an existentialist type of thing while hating the government and hating everything that they've indoctrinated us with.
Right. So definitely existentialism, and just like, religion is irrelevant. The abuse of authority and power is one of the biggest epidemics of our time and of human history. And I mean, I am so excited to be joining you along for the ride as we continue along the story of Slaughter the False Prophet. Well after this EP, like, we are here to stay, people, over at Sean Cross. But Forsaken, that being kind of the introductory lyric wise to the existentialist mindset of what is going to be Slaughter the False Prophet. Next, we have Depths of Deceit. Featuring Fred from Nihilist, which is such a sick feature, one of the best features I think I've heard this year so far. I mean, there have been plenty of others.
I tried making him feel at home with this one. I told Alex, try to make that part like down tempo, like I want him to feel at home with that one.
Exactly. So with Depths of Deceit, the first thing that comes to mind is like just realizing how deceived we are on a constant daily basis by the major elements, narratively speaking and lyrically speaking, for even just your own philosophies, not even the entire, like the mindset of Slaughter the False Prophet collectively, but currently, yes. So they're one and the same at the moment. So how close am I to touching the themes on this song, lyrically speaking, by saying that?
You're pretty close. I mean, believe it or not, I tried saying that we are all deceived, but I tried to do a withtelling of the story of America, believe it or not, through that song. Like massive enslavement, clouds of death flying in the sky, because what do you think we did with all those bodies when we killed them?
Exactly, we burned them.
You know, just dark, demented shit like that. And basically, one thing I tried conveying through that song is that evil fell from divinity, apparently, according to the Bible. But in reality, what is like the whole reality at this point, especially when we are supposed to be God believers and stuff? This country was founded on a good, all-loving, omnipotent God. And we are just
real quickly, you seem to be having some phone connection issues, buddy. They're not too bad, but really? It's like, yeah, it's like being you like it's kind of speaking digital gibberish right now on your end. It's not too bad. I can understand some of what you're saying, but you're good. You're good. I definitely wanted to bite that in the butt before we got too deep into session.
Okay, all right. Okay, sorry. It's just I'm having bad phone connection over here.
Yeah,
I think it's this fucking apartment complex.
Probably.
But as I was saying, mostly about the story of America, how America was founded upon a god, and how this god is supposedly supposed to be all good. However, we're completely evil for this Lord.
Yes.
And that's basically the gist of what Depths of Deceit is.
Which is dope. And I mean, you could easily, in about a year, with like we barely just passed the 4th of July with the release of this EP, right? So you could easily, very easily in the future, like make some kind of anti-American merchandise with the sigil of Slaughter the False Prophet, as well as a logo, just like fuck America, fuck God. Or like you can easily, very, very easily at any point right now, because the statement is still relevant. You could easily make separate church and state merch for Slaughter the False Prophet. And I think people would definitely buy that. I know I would. I absolutely would. But let's see. Speaking for the lyrical content like of Depths of Deceit, actually, we'll go ahead and pull that up real quick. Depths of Deceit. Because it's all about the lyrics. That's why we're here, people. Like, what do you think we're doing?
The lyrics are what make or break a song, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And Silent Planet, like, though they're Christian, they are actually one of my favorite examples of just like lyrical death, because they do a whole bunch of like really, really interesting references. And I mean, dude, they number some of their lines. They number most of their lines and stanzas on the albums before their newest one, like referencing to the invasion of Guernica, Spain during
That
World
is
War II.
big.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's strange because I'm becoming as much of a Satanist or an ossature as I am, but like gotta give it to those guys. Like they know, Garrett knows how to write lyrics.
I
Okay.
mean, I'm not gonna lie here. I'll state it here too, especially with music and stuff. I can completely and utterly disagree with a person like
Mhm.
in any right. Like, say for example, if I was to listen to a National Socialistic black metal band, most of it is somewhat conservative while holding Nazi rights. However, I still think the song can be completely fucking good based on its sound and
Right.
somewhat its lyrical quality. Like, believe it or not, Deathspell Omega, I think the furnaces of frustration, I believe. I
Okay.
think it had a lot of fucking controversy around it because the vocalist was a Nazi, a literal Nazi.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
but overall, I'll still listen to it because it's fucking Deathspell Omega. They're like, in my opinion, the rulers of blasphemy whenever it comes to music. Although they're not big as Behemoth, they're still pretty good. They're
Right.
still, like, in my opinion, lyrical gold, which is why I take personally a lot of fucking influence from them, lyrically as well as music wise, with the aggression of this tune.
Right. All right. Well, it doesn't seem that the lyrics for Depths of Deceit are up, but I mean, we've covered most of the lyrical themes going on with that song. And how did Fred end up filling or like fitting in with that track? Like did you end up writing the lyrics for him, or did he write the lyrics? And like what was the conversation that
Well,
bounced back and forth for that?
I wrote all the lyrics. All the lyrics are mine.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I
and
gave him like a solid minute, a whole paragraph, and he said, "You know what? This will be fucking crazy, but I'm gonna do it."
cool. Yeah. And like, let's see. Trying to use the brain a little bit more. Um, what was the reason you ended up choosing Fred Nihilist compared to other vocalists in the scene? Like, just for the sake of asking that question, because people would
I
want to know.
mean, Fred Nihilist, I get compared to him quite a lot because of like the depressing, evil type vibes that I give, and I just said, you know what, fuck it, let's just try to feature him on a song. Plus, he did inspire me with how he went from just one man to who he is now. He's all in
Yeah,
like covers and shit of magazines and shit.
right. Well, that's really cool. I didn't know. Like, let's see. You said magazine covers?
Yeah, because I've seen his name pop up on multiple like metal magazines and shit about how claustrophobic his sound can be.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. I guess I need to look into the material for all of our scene, because I mean, I know brands like Shibori Threads. Shout out to them because they make some of the coolest merch on the planet. At least to me. But they've been on, I think, even the cover of Forbes as like a breakthrough clothing line. And they just work alongside these massive bands, and one day they're wanting to work with Slipknot. I don't know if it was Forbes, but it was one of them, maybe like Rolling Stones or something. But they were on a massive magazine, and I'm like, holy shit, we're making it, dude. Like, we're breaking through the wall. But no, that's really dope. And shout out to Fred Nihilist for putting the feature, putting the effort, putting the shrieks, dude, that he did into this song. Because I kid you not, I was playing that song. I was playing this entire EP all 3 times at work. So other people, other freaking Republican, Christian, old ladies and families and kids and stuff, they were all hearing just like from Fred. And I'm like, yeah, eat it up, vacuum it. Like, I had it on full blast, and I'd never got any reactions, which I would thought was really surprising. But I guess these days people are like, it's gonna happen, they're coming over here now or something. And who's they? Like, well, why is it just they? But all that fun on all that fun cultural just kind of shattering going on. And yeah, I played this EP 3 times at work, and I'm super proud that I did. And I'm like, yeah, my boys cooked up that shit. But with that being said, we quickly migrate into Conjured Unto Nothingness. Which I have no idea what's going on here lyrically. So far, I can't even conjure per se any lyrical ideas, any themes going on. But when I do read, what's up?
Do you remember Freemasonry?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, there he goes. You can continue.
Anyway, as I was saying, it was, you remember like when we talked about Freemasonry and how it holds secret oppressions over people, and
yes.
how like Hollywood, like that slave shit and like conspiracy type shit.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Conjure Unto Nothingness, if you listen to it at first, like when I say climb the monument, touch the eye, it's basically climbing the ranks of Freemasonry, touching the eye itself, which is the all-seeing eye, which is like on your dollar bill, where
yes,
quote unquote Satan lives. And when you touch it, you become conjured into a demon, who then conjures unto this reality, which is nothingness in my eyes. Nothingness is this reality.
Oops.
Okay, disconnect me again whenever I'm speaking. So anyways, as I was saying, it could you touch, you get into Satan. Satan conjures you into a malevolent demon that can then be conjured into this reality, which is nothingness. And this reality is what I view is true nothingness. And death is truly our truth.
Yeah, and that makes sense because death is a lot more concrete than life. At least that's what we as a species have understood, and like we've seen how death just affects us all. It's inevitable. Like there's no escaping it. Sooner or later you will die. It's just a means of how you end up dying, why, when, where. Other than that, like there's absolutely nothing that is concrete, and because of mortality and stuff, nothing is forever, which I prefer. I've accepted that by all means and measures, but yeah, absolutely.
Gosh. If only Adam and Eve weren't a bunch of dumb fucking idiots. Or, well, if God wasn't a fucking idiot and putting the fucking fruit tree there.
Yeah.
Let's be real. He probably has a porn stash on the back there.
Oh, Lord.
You don't want to touch that. You don't want to touch that tree.
Just tap into it, just porn.
This tree of knowledge. You hold all the knowledge of his fetishes.
Ah, Jesus, that's sick.
My boy dying. Oh.
He said, "My boy dying."
Why do you think a storm happened afterwards?
Oh my Lord, that's fucked.
You're telling me done.
You're telling me God coomed after Jesus died, bro? Like,
yeah, that makes Nitheful song make a lot of sense now. I fucking love Derek.
Conjured Unto Nothingness. Like,
for fucking real.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Oh,
that's hilarious,
God, dude.
But with that in mind, we move on to Rise of Thy King, featuring Bryce Schittelbauer of Divine Destruction. and just actually did a reaction earlier for his newest cover of Awakened Providence's God Killer, in which he fucking killed it. Shout out to him for sure. But Rise of Thy
Dude,
King,
Bryce is a fucking monster.
he is, and I'll go ahead and quote exactly what I said because, you know, for the sake of doing so. I commented on his thing, his video. Where the fuck is it? Oh, really wish I was as good as you. To me, you combine spectrums from Ben Durr and Adam Mercer into one. I definitely think that you should try out for Mental Cruelty because every vocalist is probably going to try out for that role.
I don't know if I will because, like I said, I'm not 21, and I'm joining the Navy soon, so I don't know if I'm even going to be able to move to fucking Germany.
Yeah, I freaking keep an ear out, people. Oops, sorry. Keep an ear out, people. I definitely plan to try out for that because that would be the opportunity of a lifetime, and I would get to leave America. I would love to do that, but
trust me, I would if I would move anywhere, it would probably be Romania because I heard that country is just so fucking peaceful and like you don't have to deal with warfare. You don't have to deal with anything. You just pay your bills, go to work, enjoy yourself, and no bullshit corruption would happen. And you're just free there, from what I know.
I mean, honestly, the last I heard, Greece was pretty peaceful, but then it all burned down. Basically, like most of their trees and stuff burned down in a major fire last year. So that sucks. And then, you know, Sweden, Norway, all those just dark, cold countries. I would love to go to one of those countries, but the thing is, the suicide rate is also pretty high in those countries for whatever reason. I don't get that at all, and I haven't done research because I'm like, I'm busy being an American. But
yeah, I probably gotta look into that.
Yeah, but Rise of Thy King, one of the coolest tracks that I think Slaughter the False Prophet has released because it allows for the creative efforts of Alex Venier to meet up, which, I mean, shit, once my band releases content, which
right now.
Oh, well, I mean, either way, yeah, Maleficus is back once again, and
Apologies.
just like Zoots just flies out. So Rise of Thy King, when I think of Thy King and everything that we've bounced back and forth creatively for Mount Bolga, for the narrative continuity of Maleficus and Slaughter the False Prophet, when I think of Thy King and the Rise of Thy King, I think of Abaddon. Does this song talk about Abaddon and Maleficus and his involvement with Abaddon?
This talks about the Antichrist rising and deceiving humanity, and later on transcending to Abaddon being the first to attack humanity, which would be Thy King at first. But in reality, later on, it will then turn to, of course, Lucifer.
Okay, so
me personally, my whole view of the rapture and shit, if it were to actually happen, would be the Antichrist would be the first wave. Then the first spawn of demons would happen would be Abaddon, the destroyer, the lord of the locusts and shit, that would fly all over, kill everybody. Then it'd be Azus, the one of wrath, who would send all the demons ground-wise to go kill everybody, and then Satan, the true ruler of this world.
But isn't Baal or Beelzebub the Lord of Flies, the one who sends the locusts and shit?
Yes. No, actually, no. Believe it or not. It's to actually Beelzebub is the Lord of the Flies. He's the Lord of Decay. I think Beelzebub, if anything, would be like the last. He would decay all life on this earth.
Yeah.
For Satan to truly take over.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
And Beelzebub, I mean, I'm actually thinking about making on this next record, making a song based on him actually doing his army to fight Satan for his rulership in hell and actually winning, because there was a story about it where Beelzebub would fight Satan in hell, and he would actually conquer Satan in hell, making him the true ruler and the true king of hell.
Yeah, you should absolutely get Greg to feature for that, because to me,
I'm actually highly considering that one, considering that he's like a real expert on spirituality and Satanism. and
Well,
like demonology.
not only that, but when I think of Sheol and I think of that album cover, I think of him, like, and kind of just not even just being a vessel, but if you were to compare a great number of vocalists to various dukes and lords and kings in hell, I think Greg would definitely be a great candidate for Beelzebub. Not calling him a vessel. There's no occulty stuff going on. Like, they're done with that shit, people. So don't freaking overthink about that. But for the sake of narrative and the sake of continuity and kind of honoring what Sheol and Malignance was, I think that would be super sick. I would love.
Personally, I think Malignance had a better Beelzebub image, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, after all, the freaking Buzzy Boy's right behind me. You can barely see him because this is a misprinted flag, but he's right there, a little freaking shiny head. But but with Rise of Thy King, basically everything that you just said is kind of like what's going on in the song is the Rise of Thy King, the process of what is it? What did you say? It was like rampage.
It was the first. It's the rise of the Antichrist. Lyrically, it's the Antichrist that rises up, and then it's the first wave, which is Abaddon.
Right.
Abaddon, I believe, is the lower rank of hell. Although he's called the Destroyer, he got killed by an angel, a mere angel.
Right.
In one of his iterations. But I think he'd be the first spawn, and people would think, wow, he's actually our king. But then later on, I'm actually thinking about making a sequel to this song. Just it gets worse later on.
Right. And I mean, that would be cool. Gotta love a sequel, man. Especially because the original story is that good.
Originally, I was gonna have somebody else on instead of Bryce on this one.
Right.
Bryce came up because me and Alexander. No, not Alexander. What the fuck, dude? I'm getting confused. Alex, we were getting like tired of waiting, so we just put him on there. And in my opinion, I don't regret it because, dude, he fucking slayed that shit.
He did. He really did. He annihilated that feature, and
he's a monster.
He is, though. Like, there, not enough praise. I'm surprised the Divine Destruction isn't touring already. Like, dude, it actually makes me upset because the poor guy is like, does anybody want to play in my band? And I'm like, I would, but I'm not an instrumentalist.
Dude, I mean, if I knew guitar and I knew drums like I wanted to practice when I was in high school, I would totally play for his gig. But there's more people wanting to join Slaughter over him, which fucking surprises me for some reason. Like, I'm shocked that Slaughter,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, obviously there's love around the whole table, people, because we all are, working with a great instrumentalist, a great musician by the name of Alex Savigny again. And what I was going to say earlier too, like way earlier in the session, is that we have every intention to like link up, and I want to jump on their tracks. I want them to jump on my tracks. It'll be a whole fucking gig, and it'll be a little brotherhood under that name. You know what I mean? It's going to be great. And I can't wait for that to happen in the future when it does. We will be right back though, because the call session.
Very good.
All right, so we're back. This is going to be part 2. We are back. So where we last left off, we were talking about the rise of thy king, and not Jesus, not God. We're talking about the devil. Seriously, fuck these Jesus cults out here, man. I'm done with it.
But Jesus Christ, be good.
Be gone, Christ, be gone. Dude, imagine old white people are doing that right now in an alternate dimension. They're just like, be gone, Christ. And just, hell, hallelujah, Satan.
I swear that would be the best fucking thing I'd ever seen in a long while.
I'm telling you, bro, it's coming. And it's on the rise. But so we last left with Rise of Thy King, as I said, and we are talking about the lyrical content of that. So essentially what we have going on in that song is the first couple waves of Apocalypse, Revelations, all that fun stuff. Now we have the title track with which I have a lot to say about this, and it's very good things, but the Desecration.
If you got bad things, go ahead. I'm willing to take the bluntness to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, not this time, buddy. I don't have anything bad to say about this song because you might tell you what too. You might actually not like the like this, but when I first listened to this track all the way through, I said this is absolutely Slaughter the False Prophets Frozen Lake. And what I mean by that is that
Really?
yes, absolutely. What I mean by that is if I ever saw your band live, which I really hope I get to see Slaughter the False Prophet live someday, that'd be a treat. When I thought of this song, I thought of you just being in the middle of the woods, it being really, really dark, and you just screaming into the void. But also there's like kind of all these just like little breaks. I don't even know how to describe it, but it reminded me a lot of the Frozen Lake, but in the best of ways. So yeah,
That is so
boom.
cool, man.
And I think when you guys make your live debut, I think a lot of people are going to want to hear this live. I think this Desecration being the title track, I think this is going to be the first song that people will want to do death walls to when they come to see you live. And I mean, I am definitely going to be encouraging that. I'm going to be even probably doing some illegal freaking ninja moves, bro, because I want to see a death wall to this song, especially when it stops, it goes silent, has this little break, and then all you hear is the drums in the background. That just reminds me of like a demon orchestra, not even orchestra, like a drum band or something, just like these big old fat gargoyles are like and they're just like pounding on these big old freaking keg drums. And yeah, seriously,
Like
exactly. And then when the breakdown does hit for this, absolutely, this is a death wall track. But being that this kind of vacuums everything together for what is going to be chapter 1 of Slaughter the False Prophet, what is now growing with thousands of streams, which is super cool to see. What was your approach lyrically to this? Is it indeed a back of the book summary for what the EP is, or is it like this is actually what Desecration is, but all these other songs like relate
it actually
to it really
pretty
well?
much is what you just stated right there. It's mostly about the apocalypse and stuff, and mostly about the apocalypse. But like I said, we don't know about death, so it's just know with rituals of sin coming out in the final part, it's all in the head. It's all in the mind.
It's all head canon.
Yeah, it's like all in the mind of what the apocalypse might be. Mountains of dead bodies and shit like that. Right. I don't know when the lyrics are supposed to come out, but when they do come out, they will eventually tell.
Yes, exactly.
Because the breakdown literally says receive the world. Which, well, obviously, it's a shout out to Leviathan, but it is also what I think is receive the world as a godless world we are living in.
Right, right. I like that. And so this being the title track, this being the back of the book summary, collecting everything together like a freaking teacher just, all right, children, let's go for a field trip or some shit. That's what this track does. So when you were thinking about naming this EP, why Desecration?
Because truly what I sought to do in this EP was desecrate, quote unquote, God's creation, which is order and stuff.
Right. Okay. And Desecration, just for the sake of looking it up and doing a little bit more research, Desecration just means the act. Well, okay. the act of desecrating someone. Okay, what does desecrating mean? I love that.
What the fuck?
Okay, so get around or present participle, desecrating. To treat with violent disrespect, to violate. So I mean, yeah, there you go. There's a little sentence saying more than 300 graves were desecrated. So were you thinking of any other EP titles or like any other words to best describe what you were invoking, or was it always desecration, at least for this EP?
It was always desecration for this EP.
Sick. And definitely not a word that you hear every day. So I do like how unique it is in that aspect. It could absolutely be violate. It could be, which is a little bit more bold for an EP, like an EP name. It could be rape or something, but you know, that's not really the intention.
Oh, I mean, we do talk about rape in some instances within this EP, Rituals of Sin.
Oh, interesting. I mean, yeah, that only makes sense. So yeah, I mean, there you have it, folks. The title track, which honestly, and like Ritual Hymns, that was a pretty good title track. It could have used a little bit more oomph, could have used a little bit more, like, I don't even know how to describe it, other than there were some parts I'm like, okay, this song is really cool. It helps wrap up the album really well, but there could have been things that punched a little bit more throughout the song. With Desecration, absolutely,
I guess
this song as a title track is flawless.
With Ritual Hymns, I guess I could say that about it, but overall, I think Devin and his album, they're on one of my top tier lists for the deathcore releases this year.
Absolutely. And especially for Deathcore Day, man. You have Shadow of Intent, Enterprise Earth, Fit for an Autopsy, Warm Shepherd, and I think there was one other one. Party Cannon. Yeah, that was right. Party Cannon. Which
I didn't listen to Party Cannon.
I
didn't listen to that
one. All I can tell you, man, is that they were really fun to hang out with. But if you're looking for music with lyrical depth, do not go to Party Cannon, because all their songs.
Party Cannon, I bet they're all over the place.
Dude, we talked about this in the session I did with them a little bit ago. It was actually episode 20, which really worked out because I think it was in April, yeah, and we ended up really? Yeah, like 420. Ooh. But the album cover for their latest album, Volumes of Vomit, is actually a collection, 200, like a little over 200 submissions. That's what Mike said. And it is a whole bunch of people like vomiting. It's a whole bunch of people like smashing cakes and just doing a whole bunch of stuff at a party. They photoshopped it all and just blended it into this horrific mass. And then the bassist, he edited himself just throwing up upon this volume of vomit.
That is so fucking cool, dude.
It's hilarious. It's great though.
That is fucking cool as fuck. I want to see that shit now.
Yeah, it's great. And basically throughout the entire album, they just talk about smoking weed and throwing parties and just like everything that is relevant to the fan base of Party Cannon, which seems to be pretty big. And I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty proud to now know a band from the country that my lineage is from.
That's sick. Scotland?
Yeah, Scotland. I
love it.
Yeah. Clan Douglas. And just brief little shout out there.
I gotta go find Party Cannon now, especially after this.
They're so great, dude. They're some of my favorite guys. And it was so humbling to hear that my last name is actually pretty popular still over in Scotland. But we're not talking about me, when I love you boys, but we're not talking about Party Cannon right now. We gotta talk about Slaughter the False Prophet, okay? So we gotta wrap up the EP at least before we dive into all this other shit. So Rituals of Sin is the very last track on what is chapter 1 now of Slaughter the False Prophet, which for one, it's been cool to be here seemingly since the beginning of things really kicking off for this band. I mean, people, not gonna lie, he sent me the album cover. Like we've bounced back and forth. Like, we're homies. So that's the main reason. But also, like, fuck yeah, dude. I've feel like I've been here for more than enough time. I feel at home with Slaughter the False Prophet. So Rituals of Sin was actually the song I took a chunk out of as far as the music video, and I edited that into the beginning of the Anatomy podcast session. And I really love the song. I remember seeing the corpse paint, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this guy's a fan of Worm Shepherd, which a lot of people probably were saying at first, but
Oh, dude, yes. I wouldn't. I'd lie to everybody if I said I wasn't. But I mean, in all reality, I take a lot of inspiration, especially tone-wise, from older black metal bands.
Right.
Leviathan, Zaster, Deathspell Omega, Nordic Winter, lots of good stuff.
Yeah. And there's such a big and growing world, especially now with the massive trend of blackened deathcore, which I would argue the only thing not blackened about these bands is that most of them aren't doing corpse paint anymore. Like, not to throw shade anywhere.
Not only that, but just, I mean, what I sought to do with this album is what I find lackluster about blackened deathcore in particular is it lacks that bleakness and despair that really should go with the genre, and that misanthropy and that overall anti-human type of music that like doesn't give a fuck about heavy subject matter, but just says it.
Yeah, which is great because older and bolder bands such as Mayhem, Burzum, the bands that he's named, including Deathspell Omega, Leviathan, all of those, that's really what started the legacy of what is now black metal, what is growing into and evolving into blackened deathcore, which is basically just heavy lyrical content mixed with very, very chuggy, very filthy, blast beaty, infant annihilator level breakdowns, which is good. It's good for the genre, but also it causes saturation for sure. And that is something we can both agree on. It causes heavy saturation. And I love Lorna Shore, for example, but when Worm Shepherd isn't even getting a sliver, I feel, except for the Revolver magazine.
I think Worm Shepherd.
What's up?
You know what? I'm gonna probably be getting a lot of shade for this, but fuck it. I think Worm Shepherd right now is the closest thing to like Wolves in the Throne Room type of black metal that honestly should be more in the scene. Like it actually mixes black metal, actual black metal, with its tunes and stuff.
Yes.
And that's what Slaughter the False Prophet is going to aim to do with this next album. Lorna Shore, however, my opinion about them, and this is not to throw any shade at them, but they lost all their blackness since Tom Barber left, and they became more symphonic deathcore with just a blackened paint on it.
I completely agree. And I do prefer that for them because even bands like Shadow of Intent are like, we don't really want to be deathcore. We're more like symphonic death metal. And I'll go even farther by saying, because I've shout out to Dave Rucky from Sentinels of New Jersey, because he did a podcast with Austin Archie and Adam D'Amico. And basically they were saying that they are more or less shooting for blackened symphonic metal and symphonic death metal, not blackened deathcore, but the label was slapped on per se. And now they're kind of riding the storm, riding the current, riding the wave, like just kind of moving along with the storm. Because, you know, when a hurricane starts, you can't run from that. You're going to get swept up unless if you go inside. They decided to stay outside. And now they're freaking flying all around Florida. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. Well, the good thing about them is that they take a lot of inspiration from Behemoth. Although I am not a fan of Behemoth, I still respect what Nergal has done in his older prime when he actually was black metal. Then he opened the genre to death.
Right.
So I respect him for that.
Yes. And I mean, I don't even listen to Behemoth that much. When I personally think of
I don't listen to them at all. I listen to all their older stuff when they were like black metal. I guess I'm a boomer that way because like I just love black metal ever since like I got hooked into that shit since high school. Like I've been hooked on that shit. There's no getting out of it for me. There's just no getting out of it for me.
I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I think deathcore in general peaked in 2019. It continues to grow because you got tracks like Demolisher from Slaughter to Prevail, which is like, oh shit, people can go even deeper now. And then Lorna Shore came out with To the Hellfire, and people are like, oh shit, you can mix Infinite Annihilator and Shrine / Shadow of Intent / Worm Shepherd / all
But
these other bands. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But 2019, dude, that was the year of Sheol. That was the year of Enterprise Earth's Luciferus. Which, oh my God, me personally, I love that record, and I want to stay here. I want to stand freaking foot in the ground. And I want to say that I think blackened symphonic deathcore in the state that it is today started with Enterprise Earth's Luciferus. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to listen to it, but there are so many like just purely evil vibes.
Because everybody was saying to me, "Oh, Enterprise Earth, they went like a whole blackened route." I was like, "What?" And then I checked it out. I liked it. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it. But
Right.
however, their latest release, especially considering that Dan Watson's no longer in the band, I don't think I can get into them anymore.
I refuse.
Especially hearing what the fucking what they did to you at that one show. I don't think I can get into them.
That's the only reason I do not at all listen to them from here on out. And I would rather support Meyer Lore, because I've even tried to reach out to them via email and they had absolutely nothing to say. Which, you know, I talked with Chris of the Breathing Process a couple days after everything happened. We had a conversation and I decided not to be too bold about any statements like fuck Enterprise Earth, because that's stupid.
Oh, I'm not gonna flat out just say fuck Enterprise Earth or something like that, but just like all I gotta say is, as bandmates, not to talk shit, but they need to improve their attitude. That's all I'm gonna say, is they need to improve their attitude, especially towards the people who make them who they are.
Exactly. But without diving too deep into that, we have the very last track for the Desecration EP, the first chapter for Slaughter of the False Like, love this track. It's great. So you mentioned earlier that there are some pretty bold lyrical aspects to this epilogue, this finisher for the EP.
Heavily inspired by Deathspell Omega. This one track right here, the reason why I think it's our most popular is because lyrically it is inspired by rituals of no, not rituals. It's inspired by Deathspell Omega and tons of blasphemous black metal bands, as well as adding my own flair to it. But the instrumentals on there as well are just fucking just insane as fuck. Like, he goes full angry in that track, in my opinion, that I think. Yeah. And Rituals of Sin is personally my favorite of the entire lineup of tracks, personally.
Yeah.
I saved the best for last.
Save the best for last. I like it like that. I like it like that. But
oh yeah,
with that in mind, let's dig a little bit deeper, right? So you said there's like a little bit of like bold kind of violation and all this other stuff going on.
Oh, it has a lot of dark shit going on. Murder, rape, incest, all that dark shit. But the reason why is because it's actually a direct sequel to Desecration, believe it or not. After Receive the World, that's when, in my eyes, or how I see it, humanity finally realizes that there is no God, and therefore they do all that dark shit. Because I'm, as much as I hate the Lord and shit like that, and government and shit like that, they are like the only boundary to us from us becoming animalistic and becoming the true dark and demented thing we as humans can truly be.
Which, yeah, I absolutely understand that mindset. And it's very easy to dive into that plane of thought. I guess for me, I still at least have a couple slivers of naive optimism in me. And I'm just like more.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, there's always those optimistic people.
Yeah.
But just as an existentialist and seeing how the actions of today's society are, I view it the oppositely.
Right. And so throughout the entirety of this song, let's go ahead and pull up the lyrics for this, boys. Like, why? Let's do it. Because we got to do our homework for the people, man, for all the Malbolgans that are going to be descending upon the Facebook community here pretty soon. As soon as we post this, the Anatomy podcast section, absolutely everything that they have done and that I'll be collaborating with them on so far. So, Rituals of Sin. Rituals of Sin lyrics. So, bow and hail the rituals of carnal pleasure, breaking and defiling the chains of grace. Humans become the 7 sins of impurity. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's what we were just talking about. Fathers rape their sons and daughters, whores spread their legs for the goats and dogs, spreading the seed of impurity to be unleashed, smash down the mortals of Christ, indulge in perversion. Sin. Anyways.
Oh, dude, yes. I love that shit.
See the ascendance of this.
Something like that.
Yeah, for real. See the ascendance of the 7 lords of chaos, which is a dope way of saying that. So literally, this is just talking about like the potential animalistic nature, the carnage, the sin that humanity would invoke upon the earth and unleash upon the earth if it had no one to say no.
Well, exactly. Also, there's a biblical kind of thinking to it. If people were as sadistic and evil as they are claimed to be within the song, it actually more or less kind of contributes to Satan being our true creator, more or less. The evil, all evil one.
Which honestly, I like the idea of being a creation of the devil than being a creation of Christ, because truly, all of us have the intrusive thoughts. All of us have these evil things that cook up in our heads. And whether it's chemicals or whether it's just human nature, whatever you want to call it, all of us are kind of evil in that way. Some of us are just better at containing and taming those things. I mean, for me personally, and this is absolutely just speaking for me, this is not saying that I'm better than anybody, because absolutely
trust
not.
me, I wholeheartedly do not condone rape or do not condone any of that shit. Like, I mean, this Slaughter the False Prophet, it's, to me, it's the more just down and deprived lower aspect of myself speaking.
Yeah, and that's,
on the other hand,
for anybody.
Or as I'll say it, Maleficus speaking,
right? Which honestly, in that case, and it's interesting too, because like that's kind of like the whole gig with Leviathan Satanism, really, is like depicting yourself as a deity or a separate being. And I mean, in that case, with Maleficus telling the story of the EP and stuff, like the potential is there.
Maleficus more or less is like a name I carry into battle myself.
Yeah.
It's my name that I carry into battle.
Right.
But I don't consider myself a deity, more or less. I just think that, like I said, as an existentialist and looking at past results of everything, that is what I see would happen if governments and stuff would go away. Although I would never do such a thing like that, especially to another person. That is what I'd see happening, especially at the end of all things.
Yeah, because people become desperate. They become they resort to what they came
Violence
from.
and just
Mhm.
the animalistic tendencies of humanity.
Yeah, which with rituals of sin in mind, that could easily just cause, like, when I think of that title and I think of everything that we just discussed about this song, it comes to mind that, what if enough people start doing that once another situation like Roe versus Wade being overturned happens? Because I know, I can't confirm, obviously, so do not quote me on this, anybody, but recently there was like a lifting of a lot of major laws in Charlottesville or Charlotte, North Carolina, that allowed like robbery and stuff, which is crazy. It's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing is, I couldn't find the article when I was looking for it recently. So I think they either took it down or that didn't happen. Either way, when you think of situations like that, maybe like the purge, and you think of all these people, there's like, okay, now I can let loose. I would
Exactly.
actually love to kill
Exactly.
people. Yeah. And when I think about that, I think, what if we actually started doing that one day? And the moment that you see rituals of sin, per se, in mass throughout an entire city, people being murdered, people being raped, people being butchered, hit by car, like parents just leaving their kids to rot or something, just all these things that human beings are indeed capable of. It's just like impossible to think about it, and we don't like to think about it, but it could happen. I'm sure it has happened to so many people. Just evil things going on out there in the world. What if by enacting and invoking all that sin, it just condenses and causes a mass conjuring of various demonic entities and monsters and shit? And then as people look around them, the mother who left their child gets gored and butchered by a giant like orc or cyclops, whatever you want to think about. And just all this stuff starts happening. People are getting possessed en masse. People are having demonic entities leave their body, and then they're like, oh, that's why I was doing all that. I can't believe I did that. You go, and they're fucking dead. Like, it's crazy to think about, but that's actually kind of the lyrical premise that I'm wanting to bring to the table with a future release. Yeah, it's
that is
that
really sick. I like that.
the album is simply going to be called Sin. But I invoked that idea after watching a couple, like, as corny as it sounds, like poltergeist vids caught on tape and all that shit. But creepiest thing I saw was just this shadow leave a woman's body in a gas station, and she just plummets to the ground and she doesn't get up, as if she was possessed for a long time. And the moment that the shadow just, and you see it on the security camera, she just flops to the ground.
That
no
is
life
so
in her.
fucking evil, dude. I love it.
Yeah. And I think I think back to stories like Devilman Crybaby, which the Sabbaths, and that, I don't know if you've ever seen that show. If you haven't.
Yes, I have. If you watched my AMV, I had some portions of it within there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay. And I saw that little AMV earlier. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know they did an AMV. But I love those. I love those videos so much.
I'm probably gonna do one for I think either the Left Hand Path or the song which I'm gonna try to feature both Dylan Skuta and Derek Connolly in there.
Ooh.
Dylan, who's the vocalist of Abhorrent Abomination, and Derek, who's the vocalist of Nitheful.
Nitheful. Yep, absolutely. Well, that would be a pretty powerful package. But yeah, little sneak peek, like years ahead of time. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's probably going to be years considering what I'm about to go through. But either way, with the money that's going to be flowing in, I'm probably going to get it done pretty quick, actually, probably.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And more or less like what I was discussing with the lyrical contents and like the basic premises of Sin, for Blind Without Our Failures, that will definitely be farther down the line. But definitely hope to get as many of the boys from the Ignite the Church crew, as I've been calling it recently, on Sin, because that would be fucking sick.
Oh, I wonder if I'm gonna have a part in it, hopefully.
you probably will. So just keep that in mind. But that about wraps it up for the first Under the Skin session for Slaughter the False Prophet. It is my honor to be helping these boys promote their content, learn the story of their first EP, learn the story of all their songs so far.
I can't end this without a few shout outs. I give a warm shout out to you, of course, Alex Sevigny. I give a shout out to Devin, who helped me in a lot of ways, especially with confidence.
Yes.
I give a shout out to his friend Jacob Mello, who honestly, if it wasn't for him, Rituals of Sin wouldn't be our most popular song. I give a lot of shout outs to Alexander Cox for joining the band and for being such an awesome fucking dude. I got a lot of people who I need to shout out, but they're all under my profile picture, so they got it.
Yeah, definitely Fred and Bryce for the features on this.
Bryce.
Yeah,
definitely gotta shout those two out. Bryce is a fucking monster. Fred is a fucking monster. I wish Bryce had a full fucking band. It kind of disappoints me that he doesn't.
Yeah,
but go for those of you who are listening, go give him a fucking band. Just go give him a fucking band. I want to see him live, and I want to do some parts on his fucking music.
Yeah, dude. Let's see him. Let's see another EP with a full band lineup. People, help him. Help a boy out. Help the dude out. Because he deserves a band.
Yes, dude.
But
also just saying Divine Destruction, speaking of which, I don't know if I should say this, but Divine Destruction is gonna release a song and it has a banger in there. I'm just gonna say that now. It's gonna have a banger.
Well, I can't wait for that, to say the least. Oh yeah, you had some other news to unveil upon your audience in general and everybody at Sean Cross, everybody who will be in Malbolga. What is the news, my friend?
That news was that I was joining in the Navy, believe it or not. And it's going to be a minute before I release a little bit of new music. But I will get it done. It will be complete. And hopefully everything will be going good. Slaughter the False Prophet also has something for Trevor of the Black Dahlia murder, who recently unfortunately passed away due to suicide.
Rest in peace.
We will be covering a song called Miasma from them.
Cool. No, that's pretty awesome. Well, with that being said, folks, it is currently 8:36 p.m. on the 10th of July. We had an awesome time here digging under the skin, like freaking, just imagine peeling. You can feel the burn from the exposed nerves.
You get fucking flesh in that shit.
Yeah, exactly. You get flesh, you get infection, you get just disease.
Flesh in your hands.
Just absolute filth under the skin of Desecration. The first EP from Slaughter the False Prophet. A new, growing, and just amazing, bleak, blackened deathcore band for fans of Shrine of Malice, Worm Shepherd, Deathspell Omega. Let's see, you say Leviathan. There are plenty of bands.
There's a lot of black metal bands. I really want to actually put the black metal in this next album.
Cool.
Like I really also for black and deathcore, I give a shout out to a band called I forgot to mention this in our little Worm Shepherd Lorna Shore little tribe out.
Yes.
But it's a recent band called Some Say Cosm. It's a Bloodborne inspired band, but god damn, they have like that beautiful black metal within their sound and stuff, which I think flows with them really well. So in my opinion, Sean Cross, I think you should interview them, in my opinion. Some Say Cosm is a fucking awesome band. I love them.
You said Some Say Cosm?
Some Say Cosm. Yes.
Some Say Cosm. Okay, cool. I'll definitely keep that in mind. And obviously, we are always trying to grow on this channel, and we want to help bands grow. Even if I only have 353 subscribers, that's the difference between someone having 350 streams and like maybe 25. You know what I mean? So by all means, people, if you have a band, if you have a blackened deathcore band, if you have a bleak blackened deathcore band, BBD, that you want me to interview, promote, like endorse, if you want to interview, if you want to push your content out, reach out to me, please. My
Hey, there's
email.
Black Tongue.
There's Black Tongue. Exactly.
Yep, Black Tongue. That's like one of the bleakest fucking bands out there, and I only hope I could get down to that level, which I hope which I actually, believe it or not, after this album, I planned a special album for. It's gonna have another genre to it, like the depressive, suicidal black metal to it. So
Yes.
basically, I'm gonna call this one depressive, suicidal, black and deathcore, which will be right after this first album we are going to release, hopefully next year.
Right. Do you know what would actually be really good for branding purposes? Just call your little subgenre Bleak Deathcore, not black, but Bleak Deathcore.
Bleak and black deathcore or something.
Bleak, maybe bleakened.
Bleak
and
blackcore. Bleak
and black and deathcore. Like, he hiding Odin.
Because just like the whole thing with black and deathcore that I do not like is just that it has this uplifting shit in there.
Right.
When black metal and stuff was all about just the negativity of life but put into music.
Right.
That's just the boomer black metal fanboy in me talking.
Right. The concentration of despair. That is what Bleak Deathcore is.
That's really what I want with Slaughter the False Prophet, is to convey all those like truly negative emotions, but put it into music.
So there you had it, people. This is more like so much going on, like so much digging, so much freaking filleting of the flesh. You know, that is nothing to it. I'm just analogy. But this was the first Under the Skin session for Slaughter the False Prophet, featuring Alec Maleficus Lopez of Slaughter the False Prophet. Hopefully next time, well, there's not really anything, but like we will be doing more episodes. We will be getting Malboga started here pretty soon.
Oh, you go to Malboga. Go to Malboga.
Go to Malboga.
If you want more Slaughter the False Prophet shit, go to Malboga.
Yeah. And we both will be handling that the same way that I have been operating within Druid House, but hopefully a little bit more consistently. Sorry to all the Druids for my lack of consistency, except for, hey, they're about to go on tour. Be sure to go buy tickets today. Like, well, we'll be doing more. I'll be trying to figure out how to be more innovative with Malboga. But thank you, Alec, for stopping by, for deciding to talk about the debut EP from Slaughter the False Prophet. And you, my friend, be sure to have a great night. We will be in touch.
Fuck yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.